Good evening and welcome to Arsenal Above All. Hope you are all well. It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since we did the last show. Obviously, we did the preview for the cup final, and we won't be talking about that game for a while on this channel at least. Took a long time to get that out of the system, and obviously had another bad result at the weekend. But we bounced back tonight with a what do you call it? What do you call that one? Professional job, European job away from home, as we beat the previously unbeaten at home this season in the Champions League, Sporting Lisbon 1-0. I've got Mac with me tonight. Mac, how you doing, man? It's been a long time. Obviously, I know you're a busy man and everything, but how you doing?
Yeah, lovely to be here. Thank you for having me back. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good that you invited me back, and here we are. Let's talk.
Great stuff. Yeah, I did message you and said, look, I think after about 82 minutes or something, I said it's going to be a short one. It's going to probably be a 10-minute job, this one. And then we saw obviously what happened. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. And thanks for everybody in the chat. I know Neil's there. I know you're not feeling that great, man. I hope you wish you good health, man. I hope you get well soon. Neil, he said he may try and catch the show later. And Godfather Mac in the Sifle of Michael. That's fun. Cheers. Thanks for that. But yeah, let's get into it then. Arsenal getting back to winning ways after a difficult couple of weeks. Two cup defeats, and thanks to the finishers, Kai Havertz linking up with Martinelli, who pretty much taken the place out at the weekend against Southampton. And they both kind of did, but came up trumps tonight, Mac. Let's go with a vibe check, really. Obviously, before we go into the game, but how you feeling? How was you feeling going into the game tonight with all the noise as usual, around the club? And everything. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to sort of discuss it and talk about it, but how are you feeling? I mean, do you I think you've still got confidence in the team, or it's like you've seen this movie before? Has it got a new ending? New characters in there. What are you thinking?
Well, we obviously talked offline, but I personally think that we got to stay positive. I know that we had a different discussion. We had our little prediction, didn't we? I said we'd win. I thought we'd win comfortably, but it was fairly comfortable. But we'll talk about that later. But I'm staying positive. I think the two losses, painful ones though, were ones that could have been avoided by different people on board, different personnel playing, as we saw tonight. And that's the kind of point that I was talking to you about. So I'm positive that we'll continue to do well. We'll get back to normal business on Saturday. Obviously, it's an early kickoff, but it's at home. And I think going forward, the City game is going to be tricky, but it will definitely not be the same as the cup final. I think that's got a draw written all over it, and then I think we'll pretty much win the rest of our games and win the league. Champions League is obviously different. Obviously, Sporting, we're going to talk about that, and it'll be interesting to see how tomorrow goes. I'll be interested to see how that game goes. But overall, very positive. I think that there's people missing that we really would prefer to have in, but overall, I think the team that were there did okay.
Yeah. I think some people have said, you look at the two defeats that we've had. We've not had our first team out on those occasions. You had a stronger side out, obviously, against City, but he still wasn't kind of, people saying it wasn't your first team, obviously, because Timber wasn't playing. Eze wasn't playing. Obviously, he was injured as well. Obviously, we had no Odegaard, obviously, who played tonight, but he was obviously back in his role as captain, and some people were happy to see him back. Some people aren't. And the first 10 minutes tonight was pretty hairy, and we had probably, for me, I've been tossing and turning between who do I think is the best player of the season for Arsenal. Was it Rice or David Raya? And I think you have to give it to Raya because of the amount of times he saved us, the amount of points he saved us, and tonight especially just showed you the difference that he makes in not just his saves, but just how his distribution and calmness on the ball, and how that sort of, there were a lot of times tonight where we were, it was side to side stuff, wasn't it? It was really ponderous, keep possession stuff, but that was down to him and his confidence on the ball and his distribution. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Obviously, a lot of people have said, I should have played him in the final and should have played him against Southampton. But yeah, after that first 10 minutes, Matt, what was your thoughts really, in just how we sort of seemed to play through their lines? It had a little bit of feel of the City, the way we were trying to break City down and we couldn't do it. It just wasn't. There wasn't enough quality. There was not enough fit. I was trying to think what to say. What's the word? And I was trying to think what it was. I mean, there's not enough fizz in our play. There's not enough spark and front-footedness in the way that we go and try to open teams up. What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's football intelligence, bro. I think if I'm really honest, I think it's football intelligence. The players who made the centre work along the years and decades are always people who knew exactly where to pass it without even looking. And to be fair to Odegaard, when he first came, he was like that. But I don't know what's happened. And obviously his situation, I know he's had some personal issues, and maybe he's listened too much to what Arteta wants to do in the functional way, but he's lost that. He used to be able to make a pass without looking. He used to be able to open teams up. He used to get that, obviously, that eye through the needle stuff. That's all gone. And that's the football intelligence. Look at all the main players that we've had. Just in modern history, let's look at, the Bergkamps, the Fabregas, the Alexis Sanchez, there's so many to think of. But we don't have that person who is there, unless it's Eberechi Eze. When Eberechi Eze is there and he's confident, he's feeling confident, he opens teams up. But we're not seeing that happening at all. And I think that's the biggest problem. The conductor, the quarterback of the team, is not throwing finesse passes, precise passes, winnable passes. He's doing passes which are all getting intercepted. That's what's happening. Interception, going side to side, slowing the play down. What he needs to do is speed the pace up. What's happening is Odegaard's getting the ball all the way from the defense, running with it, and then stopping at the halfway line, and then passing it sideways. And then when he gets the ball back, passing it sideways again. It's just all nonsense. It's all not. So that's our biggest problem, the football intelligence. So the sense of the part, we talked about it. Obviously, the transfers, hopefully in the summer, but that is our biggest problem, and this is why we're struggling. I don't think that. I know we can talk about the fullbacks a bit later, but I don't think that the forward line is that bad. But it could be better, obviously. But it's not that bad. But I just don't think they're getting the service. They're not getting the service they need. Why is it that Victor Gyökeres? I know people are saying, "Oh, he's not great, whatever." But how is he so good with Sweden, and yet he's not getting the service and the goals that he could score in Europe and in obviously the league? I mean, even in the Southampton game, he scored. He's scoring it all the time. But with us, he's not getting the service because of the football intelligence, and that's what I think the biggest problem. Without Eberechi Eze playing, we are struggling a lot.
Yeah. I think the reason with Gyökeres is just that we don't play in that sort of transitional way that Sweden do. It's more. Sometimes it's a bit of a counter. They play a lot more vertical passes, and for me, it seems like when you look at the Arsenal attack, it's like everybody's in their certain particular zones, in their certain areas of the pitch, and they have to, and they're all waiting for the pass to be received in that area, and then once they receive it there, that will activate somebody else to do something else. But there's nobody moving out of their zones or moving into it from outside in or whatever, going that way towards the goal. Everyone's kind of side on or just waiting for the pass to receive so it can either go backwards again. There's nothing sort of going the other way. That chance they had, that pass, that vertical kind of pass, that run is the run as well. I don't think we saw anything like that, or anyone trying to make that kind of run for on a regular. Might have once or twice, but that's not the automatic thing for our Arsenal players to do. It's very much contained and controlled, and make sure you don't overload in a particular area because it's all about control for Arteta. And that first half it was a hard watch, man. It really was a hard watch, and there was a spell in the second half where we did seem to have a bit of momentum, and we had Zubimendi's goal.
Yeah,
and sorry, you kind of thought, we got a goal disallowed. We kind of take the wind out of ourselves. It didn't. It seemed to embolden us to maybe play a little bit more attacking, a bit more quicker, and that's what Arteta said at the end. He said, we just weren't playing the ball quickly enough. The final passes, people were taking heavy touches, and then that led to turnovers. Ben White on a couple of occasions, man. They're getting just bad control, and then breaking on us. There's a lot of players that just don't look on it at the moment, and you kind of think that maybe some of them aren't fit enough at the moment. Some of them are carrying at the moment. Gabriel looked like he was carrying. Obviously, he looked a bit ropey. Declan Rice, I thought, was quality again, even though he's carrying as well. It's just funny. Some players can get away with it and play through it. Others, you can see they're straight away. They're just not at the races, and they just look, like a bit of a vulnerable, vulnerable, and could be, dangerous in terms of giving away the ball.
I want to say that the last two games. Forget the Man City game. Just think about the Southampton game and tonight. If we had played like both of those teams, and I know it's not the style that Arteta likes, we play like those teams, hitting the ball into, and we've got the players to do it, hitting the ball long into dangerous areas. Instead of hitting it square, hitting it to the left or to the right, curling it nicely and letting the person run onto it, and then popping the ball into the middle. That would be the kind of stuff that would make a difference for us. We're too much slow, pass the ball back, we're going to lose it, let's pass it back, let's go forward, pass it back, go forward. It's just too slow. We've got to take some risks. That's the point I'm trying to make. The reason why Southampton beat is because they took some risks. They allowed themselves to be vulnerable at the back, but they went forward and took risks. Tonight, Sporting, fair enough, they were fairly structured, but the chance they had, especially that first half, the first 10 minutes, let's say, they took risks. When we are so risk averse as a team that we're struggling to actually do anything which is not predictable, and that's our problem. You think about the both goals that were scored. Okay, one was offside slightly, which annoyed me as we talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a worldie, but that was a risk. That is not the Arteta way to smash it from that distance and have that curl in it. It's incredible, but obviously it didn't count. But even Havertz's goal, I mean, Havertz, well, it wasn't just a ticky-tacky. It was an opportunity. He was in the right place. He made the run perfectly, and then the ball came over right in the middle, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, flicked it from right to left, pow. But that's what I'm saying. We don't do that often enough. We only did it because, one, the subs came on, and two, we were desperate.
Yeah.
But if it was like the 50th minute, we would not have done that.
No. And again, it was a vertical pass. It was someone running into space, anticipating.
And this is Gyökeres's game, right? That's what Gyökeres is about.
Yeah.
Pop the ball in the air, and let him run on it.
Yeah. It was a great finish. Obviously, wish he'd done it in the final, but great finish, great bit of play from Martinelli. But those two, like I said, they needed that really after the performance at the weekend against Southampton. Obviously, the standout player was obviously Raya. I think he made 9 saves tonight, almost as much as the fouls that their left back made. I think he made about 10 fouls tonight and didn't get a yellow card. Absolutely insane. There's don't seem to be any accumulation of fouls in UEFA. When they ref games, that was just crazy. I think about 9 or 10 fouls he did.
It must be an edict that they don't send anybody off at this stage. I'm pretty confident that's been told to all the rest. Give him a yellow, but don't send anybody off, because it's obviously the amount of money's involved, the amount of eyes on. They don't want people. They don't want it becoming unfair and 10 against 11. Obviously, I just. When was the last time you saw a red card at this stage in the competition? Just that hardly ever happens.
True, but I think Zubimendi is the only one that's on the yellow for us at the moment. So I'm not sure if that gets wiped after when they get into the semi-finals. If we get to the semi-finals, of course. And obviously, the other game tonight was it Bayern against Real Madrid? Bayern winning 2-1. Everyone was giving them the trophy at half time, but you can see, they're you can breach them. They can score goals, but you can score goals against them. People will look at our result from afar and think, okay, Arsenal have beaten a team that haven't lost in the Champions League at home this season, who have beaten PSG, and have got a clean sheet again. They'll look at it and think, oh, nil, they got a clean sheet again. So that's the thing that we think we need to fall back on, and we need to get Timber back as quickly as possible, man, because we need to get Ben White out of there. He was so poor tonight, and I think my mate James, who's been on the show a few times, said that his interview for Amazon today, it was like the way I haven't seen it, but the way he was talking, it was like a stole the beer. I just rather be anywhere else than there, and he's playing like that. He's just playing like, what, I kind of checked out, and it should be interesting to see what happens moving forward. I just think, Arteta said Saka and Timber are likely to be back at the weekend. Let's go on to that. Obviously, let's talk a bit about that. Obviously, with the way, it's funny, when we last played in the league, we just beaten Everton 2-0. Dalman had broken records. Hype train was going mental, and then obviously later on, City drew with West Ham, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone was saying the momentum's totally with Arsenal, and it's funny now after two defeats in the cup, and City having 2 wins in the cup, everyone's kind of saying, "Oh, the momentum's back with City now."
It's nonsense.
What's your thoughts? Because it's an early one, isn't it? It's 12:30 kickoff.
Yeah. It's nonsense, bro. Yeah. I think it's nonsense, and I'll tell you why I think it's nonsense. Is because the media want, as we've talked about throughout for the last few weeks, the media want the game that we play against them to be the most crucial game of the season. They want millions of people watching it.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. I'll tell you that now. We have played 2 cup games. Okay, first cup game we had, and I know it's we've talked about, you touched on it, but the reality is I have to stick with the Arsenal fans. I'm sorry that Kepa had no business being in the final. He did well. I'm not denying he did well throughout, but you've got to put your best goalkeeper in there. The saves that he made tonight, Raya, world class, puts him right up there at the top of the tree. We're up there with all the best goalkeepers around the world at the moment.
Yeah.
The saves that he did, would Kepa do them? No chance. There was that save where right at the start where they smashed it, and it happened so fast you didn't even see his hand touch it until they slowed it down. Where he touched it and he hit it off the bar. What?
Yeah.
I mean, that Kepa for the 2 goals Man City scored, he didn't even know the ball was going in. I mean, where he could see the ball floating. He should have got that. Command your people. Command it, jump, get the job done. Second goal was scandalous. But anyway, both of them were, to be fair. Raya is an integral, pivotal part. And he hasn't played the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So let's get it right. You've touched on Ben White. Ben White has played like a guy who wants to leave.
Yeah.
He's down tools. He's there in body, but in spirit. I mean, this guy, the Southampton first goal was a scandal. You see the ball, you've got time. You've got at least 2-3 seconds. And you jump. Why are you jumping? Just move back and crowd the guy out with your arm. Even I know that.
He could have taken it down. He could have taken it down his chest. Guy was down there.
Why are you jumping? Just crowd the guy out. Move back and crowd the guy out. What's the problem? I don't get it. So again, this position he's playing, both fullbacks were not very good today. Let's be quite frank. Calafiores was not great. Both of them, we know, when the team is fit, they don't play. In Cape, Timber play. It's as simple as that. So, and MLS wasn't great either on the weekend. But we could talk about a lot of people who didn't do great. But for me, you can't. You've got to put the two games to one side. And I did hear actually, they were talking about it on another channel, and they were saying the same kind of thing, that you got to put those games to one side. Rice is hugely pivotal as well. What he did today, like you said, he's carrying obviously, but he's always there. He's always mopping up. He's always helping out. He's always back and forth, no matter what. I don't know what's keeping him going, but obviously he wants to win the title. But if he was there for the Southampton game, they wouldn't have scored those goals. 100% they wouldn't have. But he wasn't, unfortunately. So I just think, I think personally, and this is my prediction, I don't think we're going to lose another game this season in the Premier League. I think we're going to play Bournemouth. We're going to beat them. And I think they've struggled all away from home. You talked about Newcastle being tricky. Newcastle away from home have struggled. They've had one or two decent games, but overall, hasn't been great for them. I think if there's a tricky game, depending on where they're at, it's Palace away. If Palace, as long as Palace, it depends if they're fine for anything or they're not, then that might be tricky. But overall, I think we're going to draw against City. The rest are going to be wins. I don't see any problems with that. Champions League, obviously, we'll see. But I personally think, forget the noise. We are in a very, very strong position. And today's only going to help boost their confidence.
You'd hope to think that would be the case. Getting a big win, bounce back from what happened at the weekend. And, obviously, just where it puts us in a really strong position. Obviously, with the second leg, obviously before the City game, it's an opportunity for you, making sure you do your job, and then you can maybe start thinking of the City game. Making sure you go down there, healthy. But the caveat to that is we need to make sure we handle our business against Bournemouth, because if we don't, then you're just giving City you're just giving them.
Let's just remember, Bournemouth are the draw kings. They don't really win games.
They've drawn a ton of games. Yeah,
they've drawn a ton of games. They're not a team that goes and smashes people or wins games or gone on a massive unbeaten run, beating people away from home. I just look back at that. That says it all, doesn't it? Draw. 5 draws in a row. That is crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. So look, I think with a team like that, low scoring, as long as we get 2 goals, 3 obviously, that's it, over anyway. Regardless of what they score, we'll finish that off. The Man City game is going to be, as it always is, a very, 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 very tricky game. Look, they've had 2 draws as well. I think that they may score first. They'll be motivated for that game. That's the only difference. But overall, if we get the Bournemouth game over the line, they'll be 12 points ahead. Then they have to actually keep up with us, and then obviously play us. So I just can't see in the league anyway any issues.
We've got Chelsea, haven't they, away? And
they got Chelsea away, but obviously Enzo's not there. But I don't even think Enzo's that good. But got Chelsea away. Chelsea will be motivated, but Chelsea are so leaky at the back. Yeah, so it depends what they're like. If they're in the mood for it, Chelsea on their day are amazing, but it depends what kind of mood they're in.
Well, they need to get into the Champions League, don't they? So they're in the dogfight with Liverpool and Villa and Man United. So that there's that they need to, do something. Or people are saying, we need City to lose. No, a draw would be great.
I think
a draw will be fantastic. So
Chelsea are a high scoring team, so that's as the good thing on for us, that they are going to score goals. But my prediction is that we're going to win quite comfortably. I think it'll be 2-0, maybe 2-1. But I think we're going to dominate. Bournemouth never dominate, so we're going to dominate and score goals. Havertz seems to have an eye for goal now as well. He seems
Yeah,
bad.
they do
And
play. Yeah, they do play on the front foot, and it is a little bit of a basketball game. I mean,
well, they're leaky at the back. They're leaky at the
yeah,
back.
we beat them 3-2, didn't we? And that was a bit
Yeah.
of a crazy game. And
It wouldn't surprise if it's the same.
yeah, they've been involved in a lot of good games. I think they played United. I think was it 4-4 was it earlier on?
Yeah.
And they drew and they lost, or they drew. They beat them again recently, or they drew recently. I think they did 2-2 or something. So yeah, they are pretty much on the front foot. But you like you said, you hope that obviously what happened tonight gives us a little bit of a shot in the arm, gets everybody back, a bit of a spring in the step, and yeah, just handle business. We've got like I said, we've got 7 games left in the league. Potentially a couple more in the Champions League. But yeah, you can't get this close again and mess about.
I know. But we have to prepare ourselves for whatever. But I personally, I wouldn't say super confident. I'm confident though that we will get over the line, just because I think Chelsea, Man City will be a draw. I think, but I think we've put enough gap between us. We've got enough players around this time to get us over the line. I think if we were relying on like we've had for the other 3 years, relying on Saliba or Saka or Odegaard, then that would be different. But we're not. And I do think that we've got enough people lined up. Even though yes, Ben White and Calafiori didn't have a great game, they still kept a clean sheet ultimately. So you have to give them that props. But I just think that for 7 games left and who we're playing, we've only got 1 game, which is tricky in my book and most people's book, to be honest. I think the other games we can go over the line. Everton have the best away record, and we beat them. I know it was at the end, but we beat them 2-0. So if they've got the best away record, then everyone else really should be fairly straightforward at home anyway. Away, obviously, that's trickier because obviously we've got
City got to go to Everton as well.
Yeah, so we've got obviously we've got to go to City, and we've got an easier run, definitely. And then we've got Palace as well. Is there any other away games? I think it's 5, isn't it? 5 home and 2 away. I can't think.
Yeah, we've got West Ham, City, and Palace.
Oh, West Ham. Yeah, and West Ham are fighting for it, but West Ham again. I just think we usually dominate them. There'll be that may be a draw. That might be a draw. But I think we probably have too much for them, overpower them.
Yeah.
And if it really depends where they're at. So we got Burnley, haven't we, as well at home? So we've got people who are fighting, but Burnley again have been leaking. I just can't see how we fall apart. We're not going to fall apart, but how we choke it. But we'll see.
I just think after tonight we handle business against Bournemouth. Start the weekend off right, man, because when you have the early game and you don't get a good result, it just messes up the whole weekend. Yeah. So they need to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree.
I think if Timber's back, we should be fine.
But if you're City and you're looking at it and you're thinking, with 12 points, you're looking at the table and it's 12 points, and then you've got to play the next day, so you're sitting on that, you're waking up from that, you're waking up, 12 points, and then Chelsea drew with them when they had no business drawing with them. When they had the under-21 caretaker manager up there.
Yeah.
When they sat Maresca. So they have no business doing anything in that game. In the second half, they started, and they scored in injury time, obviously for Enzo scored. So they're capable. If they click, they're capable of doing something. And I think City's defense isn't as strong as everybody's making out, but obviously City's attack is as good as anyone. So it can be interesting. And like I said, as long as we handle our business, we need to make sure we go to the Etihad the following week with the same lead, with it the minimum being 9 points, and then anything more than that, it just puts pressure on them when we play them, that they've got to be a bit more on the front foot, and then Arteta will learn from the schooling he got a couple of weeks ago and plays the right players to exploit the space that they're going to leave behind, hopefully, because I don't see why you would go to the Etihad if you've got, in the perfect world, you've got an 11-point lead, let's say, because they've drawn and we've won. Even if we've got a 9-point lead, I don't see why you would want to go there and be on the front foot and then try and win the game. You would need to react to what they're doing and then sort of just hit them on the, because they're going to be the ones having to win the game, whereas we can say, okay, we'll come out, we'll come out of your point, no problems, we'll win our rest of the games and win the league. But whatever happens, they have to come out and beat us, right? It's not like they can't do this. They can't run the same tactics that they did in the cup final. Basically, is what I'm saying. They can't do that block, that four-man block with blocking the passing lanes. They can't do that up there, regardless of what happens. Whether we win, lose or draw against Bournemouth, they can't go to the Etihad like that. They can't. They have to come out and be on the front foot. So it's up to Arteta to make sure who he picks on those wings, and then that midfield has to be correct. Because,
I think we're gonna. Well, he, as you said, analyze it a lot, and I think we're playing fairly negatively. We normally do when we're there, and we're trying to nick one here and there. But overall, I think we're going to park the bus when we go there, especially if we're 11, 12 points ahead.
Yeah. I mean, everyone, draw. Yeah, look at what they've done the last couple of years. Oh, Arsenal have to win at the Etihad. That's all. And they're going to run that same narrative. Oh, Arsenal have to win at the Etihad because what the message it sends or whatever. Oh, no, we don't. We just come out there with a draw. They're the ones that have to win. And if we're smart enough to make sure that we fall back on the defense and then we take advantage of the spaces that they give, then we should be fine. So, but just handle business.
The bottom line is, like you said, all boils down to let's beat Bournemouth, then really we can just sit back and relax and enjoy what happens against Chelsea. But I think, like you said, Chelsea would be desperate to win that. Desperate.
Oh yeah. They have to, because they're in big trouble otherwise financially. They're going to be in big trouble if they don't win, and they'll get in the Champions League massively.
I mean, obviously all that money they spend and the rest of it, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm happy that, like you told me a week or so ago, that most of our games now are before them, because it was again really annoying that they were playing before us. And the narrative that was going on and obviously, even though the players say, "Oh, I don't watch it," they know what's going on. So it's nice that we're in much more of a commanding position where we can, get the points on the board and they can look, as opposed to vice versa. Especially since we're at the top of the table, we should have more of a say in the situation. So it'd be nice.
Yeah, it's been a while since that's been the case. I mean, they're normally, especially when the new fixtures came out. I think they're going to be doing something for May. They haven't done May's fixtures yet, but
right.
Obviously, we've got them the following week, and then after that, where are we? Where we've got Newcastle. They actually play Burnley on the 22nd on the Wednesday. So they put that, and then when we've got Newcastle on the Saturday. So it's been a bit of a strange game week that, and then we've got So then on the 35th game week, we've got Fulham, and then they play against Everton on the Monday. So again, with whatever if we've got a lead, they've got to sit on it for a while. And then I don't think this is May, so they haven't done these fixtures. Oh, well, they've put us on here on a Sunday, and they're playing again. So there are a couple of games in May towards the end where they are playing before us. They haven't sorted these ones out yet. This Burnley could be the game where we could actually clinch it at home, and if we've won it at home, won it by then that's where we'll get the trophy. So fingers crossed.
I just think, like I said, if the main key players are in position, we've talked about it, then we've got nothing to worry about. I think that's the bottom line. If we've got Timber and we've got Hincapié instead of what do you call it, the Calafiori and Ben White, then we're sorted. I think that the fullback situations is our weakest points, and teams know this. They know that that's our weak point. If Raya's in position, obviously Saliba, Big Gabby, that's fine. Obviously Zubimendi and obviously Rice there. They know that's all solid at the back, but it's our fullback situation that's our problem. That's why they kept on going down, obviously down the left and down the right to swing it in. They didn't go through the middle that much because they knew that we were solid down there. So I think that's my biggest worry. If there's any game where even my other mate, as soon as he saw Ben White, then he said, "Oh my goodness." He didn't say it like that. He said it in a different way, but basically went to that effect that as soon as you see Ben White on that starting team sheet, you think, "Oh,
yeah."
So I think that's our biggest weakness, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It'd be interesting to see what kind of rotation he does, if any, on Saturday. Or if he just goes strong again. We'll
I
see.
think he's going to go strong for every game, though. I don't think he's going to hold back because there's not that much to juggle. Let's be honest. We have to go strong because we want to win the league. I think he's like us. The league is the most important thing, and then everything else is a bonus. So he has to go strong against Bournemouth. Obviously, if we're smashing them, then he'll obviously change it up. But ultimately, he has to go strong for that. He has to go strong for the Champions League because only one more game, and we're in control. So, I don't see any kind of drop. You're not going to see Kepa coming on. Okay. You're not going to see Jesus come on, are you? Honestly, let's call it as it is. These people are not going to come on. They're not going to get another game unless it's an exhibition game or something. Summer series. So he has to go strong.
Cool. No worries, man. Thanks very much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. Let's hope we can go on a nice little run now towards the end. We normally go on a bit of a run after a disappointing game. We've had two, so let's hope we can finish the season strong and see where we go from there. So we'll be back probably Sunday or Monday night with a review of the Bournemouth game, and then we'll obviously have a chat after on Wednesday after the Sporting game second leg, and obviously by then we would know if we're through. We should know who we're going to be playing in the semi-finals because Atleti and Barcelona would have played on Tuesday because obviously they're playing tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see who we come up against. When we hopefully have another trip to Spain. So thank you, Mac. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for your stuff tonight. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Really appreciate it. Just a quick one to get everyone back on board. And we've licked our wounds. We've put the Savlon on the deep wounds that we had after getting slapped, in the cup final and against our bogey side Southampton. What is it with that team, man? It's always got a number. It's crazy. Even relegated in Championship, they're still dealing with us like that. But great stuff. Thank you. Thanks, Mac. We'll be back on. We'll see you next week for the second leg. Thanks again for everyone in the chat. We'll be back at the weekend. Okay, so have a good rest of the week. And as always, come on, you Gunners.
Central figure again, and he looks to trick my goal again.